We're up to number 2 now. We didn't have a lot of convective weather around Wyoming this year, but this is the most notable event. That was the derecho they had on June 6th. Now some of you are asking me, what's a derecho? Well, it comes from a Spanish word. It does sound like a Spanish word. It actually means straight, as opposed to tornado. It also comes from Spanish from the verb tornar, which means to turn. Since tornadoes rotate, that makes sense. It basically is a line of showers and thunderstorms rapidly moving and producing widespread wind damage. Now, the criteria the Weather Service used to define a derecho: number 1, you have to have wind gusts greater than 58 miles per hour along most of its length, though they can be a lot stronger. Some of them can have gusts over 100 miles per hour. We did have 100-mile-an-hour gusts down in Colorado with this one, and the most notable derecho this year was one that occurred in Iowa in August. You may have heard about this one. Went through Cedar Rapids with wind gusts of 115 miles per hour, causing widespread damage there. The other criteria is it has to extend along a very long path, at least 250 miles, so they can be a lot longer, including this one. More on that in a moment. Now, a few factors we have to do this. Back to the meteorology. This is our jet stream. Usually these storms tend to follow the jet stream over the top of a ridge. You see the ridge here, right there. And there's the jet stream coming out of the Pacific, coming down over Utah, then coming up through Colorado, right up through Wyoming, then going up into Canada. That's where just about where that path fell. Now we come down a little closer to the ground. These are the 700 millibar winds, about 40 knots or so. That's pretty good for this time of year. And also, with the fast forward movement of the storm, helps get more wind going. And you'll see that in the wind gusts when I show you these. Now, I told you it extends over a large area. Look at how far this goes. This is about 9:15 in the morning. It actually originated down near the Utah-Arizona border. They moved rapidly to the northeast, finally terminating up here in the Dakotas. So it lasted 15 hours. You see the number of total wind reports there, almost over 300 of those. 67 wind damage reports, 272 reports of gusts over 50 miles per hour, and some gusts over 75 miles per hour as well. So a pretty notable storm there. Look at how fast it moved there. This thing was moving about 70, 75 miles per hour at one point. And here's some of the maximum wind gusts around the area. The highest wind gust we can find here is 87 miles per hour along I-80 to the east of Rock Springs. But many areas across the eastern two-thirds of our state seeing wind gusts over 60, 70 miles per hour. Now, luckily, it didn't cause a ton of damage here, mainly just some minor roof damage, also some trees blowing down, especially on the south side of Casper Mountain. Now, you ask, why is this no notable? Well, it's only the 3rd derecho we've recorded in Wyoming. The others were in 1994 and 2002, so it's a very rare event. Now, why is it so rare? Let's take a look at some climatology here for derechos. You can see these tend to be more of a plains and also East Coast thing. Most active area down here across the corners of Missouri, Oklahoma, as well as Arkansas. Usually more than one a year. This tends to be more of a springtime event here. As we head towards summer, as the jet stream moves to the north, it tends to shift more to the north, across the plain states and into the Ohio Valley. And these can even form further north as you get toward July. They've actually had these all the way up into the southern parts of Canada. Now, what do these places have that we don't have? Usually, I should say. Bueller? Anybody? Well, if you guessed a lack of really deep moisture and high dew points, you'd be right. Most of the time when you get these are on really hot, sticky days where the dew points are going up in the 60s and the 70s. Now, we don't get 70 dew points in Wyoming. We did have fairly high dew points for our area, though, getting up in the 50s to around 60. That's very high for our area. Had just enough moisture to get that line of thunderstorms and that derecho going. Well, what's number 1? You have to wait till tomorrow to find out. Stay tuned.